Borderlands 4 came out, and in the interest of not leaving it for 6 years this time, I grabbed an accountability buddy and we set out to beat the newest entry in the Borderlands series and... oh god, is that open world? Despite my misgivings about open world games, especially those that don't need to be open world games, we did beat it and also went for the Platinum Trophy. I got through Borderlands 3, so there's no way I was going to give up for this one. It can't be that bad, right? Be aware I'm not going to talk specific story spoilers, nor am I going to go into great detail unnecessarily. Like I'm not going to explain where every collectible is on the map or anything like that. Not that you need to get all of them for the platinum, which I will get to, and I'm also not going to mention every single trophy or achievement. Some are self-explanatory, and the only thing I would have to say is that, yep, we did that one. So I figure I'd just save us all a bit of time. So we had a choice when going through the game the first time. Do we focus on main quests and have a lot of cleanup after the story, or do we clear out each area as we go through the game, making the main story portion longer but reducing the amount of time afterwards? Ultimately, we decided to do it as we go, which did lead to us reaching the max level in the second area, which you could argue is a problem as we had no linear progression until after beating the final boss some 15 or so hours later. Yes, we got new gear, but that's not linear. What you need to do platinum-wise is all the main story, obviously, all the side missions, which you can't actually do until post-game, all the activities, which consists of auger mines, bunkers, drill sites, crawlers, safe houses, and silos, as well as the primordial vaults, which you should probably do anyway because 1, they're very good, and 2, they give you good rewards. As I said earlier, you don't need to get all the collectibles, so basically any icon that's blue on the map you don't need to do. So Borderlands logos, echo logs, loudspeakers, and probably some others I've forgotten about. You don't need to get any of them as far as trophies are concerned, which is good because boy is there a lot. It probably wouldn't have taken that long, to be honest though. You can see them all on the map, but not having to do it saves time, which is nice. 60 cosmetics is pretty easy, and in fact if you do all the other stuff I listed it might actually be impossible to miss, but I'm not going to fact check that. You also need to discover all locations, which is fine. The map makes it pretty easy to see where you need to go via the question marks, though this is a good time to mention that I had some weird tracking issues where my locations and activities did not track correctly and it didn't give me the trophy in co-op. I just loaded up the same character in single player and then they popped. Weird glitch, but an easy fix, so not the end of the world. Last thing we did exclusively in our first run was the bounties. You need to do 80 of these for an achievement. We just did these whenever we saw them, but as we were doing everything we could, we would naturally get a lot more of these done than if we were just beelining the main story. We really didn't need to go out of our way, which we'll get to later, but we did. I don't have a problem with most of the bounty types, but boy can we talk about the stupid retrieve an item and deliver it back to base ones. Oh my god, maybe the worst thing in the entire game. There are collectibles that are like this too, but they're not relevant to the platinum, so that's why I'm talking about it here. Why are all the items you need so far from the bases, and why are you so restricted? You're seriously telling me I can't stick the item on my back or in a pocket and then drive back? No, you can't do that. You can't drive, you can't melee, you can't throw grenades, and you move so slow. There's one in the top left area that I was carrying for like 10 actual real life minutes to get back to the base. Ridiculous. Thankfully in co-op you can sometimes throw it so your partner can catch it to reduce travel time, but for solo players I am just sorry. I don't have anything else to say, I'm just sorry. As I said, maybe the worst thing in this game that is full of bad things, please don't do it again. Oh, and we also got fully kitted out in legendary gear. Despite this game's pretty readily agreed upon reduced drop rate, this was fine. Only worry we really had was class mods, as we were different characters so we couldn't like use the same one, but we managed to get one of each before beating the game, so we didn't need to farm anything specifically. So I don't have that information for you. You'll have to search for it yourself. I'm sure someone has made a spreadsheet somewhere. Doing all this meant we didn't have a lot to do in the post-game, but there were some things like the final side quest. We did it easily, but we were still missing some, which was weird as there were no blue exclamation marks on the map. Oh no, did the game break again, was my first thought. No, it's fine, there's just a few secret quests that don't show up on the map. We had to look these up as there was pretty little chance of us finding these naturally, but I will point out that one of these needs you to sit around and listen to someone yap for 10 actual real life minutes. This is one of those things that's funny in theory, but in practice we were just doom scrolling on our phones instead of paying any attention whatsoever. Bro could have spoiled the next 3 Borderlands games and I'd be none the wiser. Couple of miscellaneous trophies now. If you go here and shoot these barrels in the order of corrosive, cryo, incendiary, shock, radiation, you get whatever is going on here. Sure, why not? Next up is Dave the Burrito, and this sucks. You need to destroy 15 burritos around the city map, with nothing hinting that they do anything as far as I'm aware, and then after destroying all 15, a door unlocks in Upper Dominion where Dave is. This is awful just because of how hidden these things are, as well as the lack of any sort of prompt that it's relevant to anything beside the achievement existing, I guess. Makes me wonder how on earth anybody finds these. I would assume that the guide makers get early copies and are told specifically about these sorts of things so they can make their guides, because seriously, how else would you know this? Next thing we decided to do was Ultimate Vault Hunter level 5, which, okay, woof. This is objectively crap, okay? To level up your Ultimate Vault Hunter rank, you first need to refight certain bosses at the rank you're currently at. This is fine, this is not the part I have problems with. After doing a few of them, you can accept a mission from a character that will promote your ultimate level once beaten. These are just the story missions again, but all the enemies have the same modifiers. Like the first one, they all had the black hole modifier, which was an actual tragedy. But no, this is just lazy. Repeating earlier missions, complete with all the unskippable dialogue, is such a lame way of doing this. If it was just all the fights from the missions without all the travelling and dialogue, fine, I'd be fine with that. But the way it is at the moment just reads like they ran out of time. I am very unimpressed. It's not even that hard per se, it's just boring waiting for the characters to go through dialogue that you've seen before. The last thing to mention for our first character was challenge related. You need to clear both a manufacturer and a weapon type category. We were obviously focusing this throughout the game, but still had to farm kills before the end. Challenges don't carry across characters, so there was no point saving it for later. They're pretty self-explanatory, though the number inflation is pretty brutal by the finals here. I did Ripper for the manufacturer while my friend did Vladoff, and we both did assault rifles for the weapon type. These seemed like the easiest to me because the categories are not equal at all. Some need you to like kill while sliding, which I never used, and the assault rifle does not need that, and in fact most of the AR challenges can be done at the same time, which is the main reason I picked it. That though was the last thing we did for our first characters. Oh, I don't think I said this yet. I picked Ammon and my mate was Rafa. I don't think I said that at any point, but I've said it now. So I'll rip the plaster off, or the band-aid for the Americans, right away. You can't get the platinum with only one character, and the sole reason for this is the trophy for getting all 10 vehicles, because 4 of them are for level 50ing each of the 4 base game Vault Hunters. I'll get into the strat I used for grinding in a little bit, but first we actually managed to miss some trophies on our first run. You see, there's 2 side quests with trophies for alternate endings to those quests, then we missed both, because of course we did. Now thankfully you can start at level 30, which makes it easier to accept side quests right away as it drops you into a world where the main story has been completed, but everything else is fair game. The first of these was for punching this guy through the portal instead of shooting him, and then finding his body in the top right corner of the map. The other is the vending machine side quest. At the end, instead of just buying a legendary, you need to first sell 3 greens and then buy the legendary as per the markings on the floor. After that though, it was grind time, and I should say that we didn't grind in co-op, we just did it individually, after doing everything else. The way I used was just farming vile bounties. You can reload the world easily by just switching Ultimate Vault Hunter mode on and off, which refreshes the bounties, and you just do a purple one when you see it. I really don't have much more to add on it. It took about 8 hours per character to go from level 30 to level 50. That is quite a bit of time, but it's also not as bad as it could have been, and I just watched some shows while I did it. It was fine. Oh, and I just remembered, so I'll leave this here. We had a ton of issues with trophies not popping correctly, but basically whenever this happened, we would just load up the game in single player and it auto popped. Unfortunate that things don't function correctly, but what can you expect from a small indie company? With all that though, we had done it. We'd platinumed Borderlands 4 in 101 hours. So after all that, what do I think of the game? Mixed. Mixed is the best word for how I feel about the game. I'll start with the good stuff because there's less of it, to be honest, but it's arguably the more important stuff. First, the combat is good. Compared to Borderlands 3, where everything was a joke pretty much the whole game, Borderlands 4 will kick your ass, which, good. Needing to lock in and actually try is a positive. Yes, you can get very strong, but in Borderlands 3 it was like impossible to not be really strong. There's a difference. Adding on to that, the big boss fights are generally really good in this game. There's actual mechanics and things you can do to make the boss take more damage, such as opening the pimples on the first Vault boss, or ways to avoid attacks like grappling onto the rocks in the Lictor fight. This combined with the harder difficulty means, again, you need to actually try, and that makes a much more enjoyable experience. Combat is this game's strongest aspect. Before getting to my more negative aspects of the game, I do want to quickly mention the things that I'm unsure how to feel about, and that is the legendary drop rate. Now, a lot of people have said it's too low, and I'm in two minds about it, right? When I went through Borderlands 3, legendaries were so frequent that they lost any semblance of feeling special, and this game's lower drop rate does get that feeling back. On the flip side, give me a legendary Jacobs shotgun, I beg. They might have gone too far the other way, with now them being too rare. Onto the things I'm definitely negative about, starting with the obvious, the open world. Now, I don't like open world games that much, and I especially dislike when series that really don't need to go open world. Series that I like, they go open world because they're chasing a trend. My main thing with the open world in this game is that it's just boring. There's no memorable landmarks in the game to me, maybe the wreck of Sanctuary at a push, but even then that's only because it featured in a previous game. I don't know why they didn't take some of the more memorable design aspects of previous games and just apply that to the open world. Maybe it's a time thing, maybe it wouldn't work, I'm not a developer, I don't know. Adding on to that, why are the objectives so far from each other? All the open world has done is make the objectives further away. You spend so much time just driving across the map when there's no reason for it to be as far as it is. It's empty space, artificial lengthening the game, and I hate it. And adding on to that one, I mentioned it earlier, but it bears repeating. How dare the game make me carry things these great distances? It's so not fun. And I had things despawn after throwing them up a climbable wall because you can't climb either while holding things. There is literally no other way of getting the item up there, and the game decided to despawn it. Cool. Moving on, humor is subjective, right? There will be people who find Borderlands 3 funny. Not me, but some people will. This game, though, doesn't even try to be funny that often. There are some funny one-liners, but it's way less than previous games. This will appeal to some people, but personally, I almost respect Borderlands 3 more for trying to be funny than this game that doesn't try. But as long as the story's good, I can look past that. So the story, it's incredibly basic for the most part. A lot of the time, it doesn't feel like Borderlands. Like any game could have had the plot of the first area. And maybe that's partially why the story feels so off to me. The fact that you can do the areas in any order makes it feel disjointed and not paced especially well. And all that's not even to mention all the bugs we came across while playing. It's been a while since I played a game this persistently buggy. Here's a short list. Getting stuck in the respawn tunnel, needing to quick to menu to restart. Cooldowns stopping working, leaving us to fight bosses without abilities. Trophies not popping correctly, as I've already said. Safe houses being disabled when they shouldn't be. And a ton of minor things like enemies T-posing and not being able to pick up items. We'd be here way too long if I listed literally everything, so I'm just going to leave it there. If I had to sum up this game simply, it would be frustrating. Because the combat is fun, and I will stick with that. The combat is really fun. But everything in between combat is just so goddamn annoying. Unfortunately, a lot of this is needed for the platinum, but it's mostly just clearing out all the missions and map objectives, which at least is actual content. It's just the grinding that kind of sucks for the challenges and level 50ing every character specifically. Overall though, Borderlands 4 is overly long. Like Borderlands 3, we did all the DLCs and the main game platinum in about 50 hours, and this was twice as long without any DLCs. It has a lot of problems, but I still did have fun. I want that to be clear. I'm very glad I brought a friend with me though. And that's the video. Do you agree with any of my takes? Was I too harsh? Hell, was I too generous? Let me know all that in the comments, and while you're down there, why not like and subscribe? It's free, helps me out, and gives you easier access to my videos, both old and new. There's a few Borderlands ones, as well as some other fun stuff you might enjoy. Thank you for watching this video. For now though, I'm off. Hunt them troves. And I'll see you next time.